Welcome back to Evolving Ways, where we ride the tides of adversity to reach the shores of success. We've got Frank Ancrum III back with us for part three of his four-part series. His official title is the head of the Office of Business Opportunities. You may also know him from his former title with the Small Business Enterprise Department. But as y'all have begun finding out and are about to continue to find out, the man is so much more than just a title. He is a pioneer, he is an entrepreneur, and he's a thought leader. And above all else, he's a man who doesn't take no for an answer and overcomes anything the world wants to throw his way to make sure that what needs to be achieved gets achieved. So today we're going to talk a little bit more in detail about his belief on mentoring the next generation and why that's so important. Before we get to that, though, we got to give a quick shout out to our sponsor.
Before we get into his story, we want to quickly shout out our sponsor. Today's podcast is brought to you by Stingray Branding, a national lead generation focused marketing agency that helps businesses generate an ROI from their marketing efforts, including web design, social media, Google search, email, automations, and more. Learn more about them at stingraybranding.com.
With that said, Frank, thank you so much for being willing to sit down with us again to talk about the ways that you're making the world better.
Thank you for having me. It's good to be back.
We love talking to you. We love getting to pick your brain on any of a wide variety of things. And today we're going to talk about your mentorship and what you do to make sure the next generation is ready to go, because there's going to come a time where they go through school or trade school in some cases, go to college, go to the military, or just become parents at early ages. Whatever their particular adulthood looks like, you need to get them ready for it. So first question, what is the most important thing you think that someone who looks after the next generation has to have? What's the most important characteristic of mentoring the next generation?
Compassion.
Why do you think that is?
The need to give back, the need to pour into someone else, the need to be a part of something that's bigger than themselves. I think many of us, you have people who want to call themselves mentors, but everyone can't be a mentor. Everyone just doesn't have. Some people are good at what they do, but they may not be good at teaching or inspiring someone to do well. I think it's a skill set. I think you have to be selfless. There's some sacrifice that's needed in there. But compassion definitely, I think you will find it in just about every mentor, every good mentor.
I am not surprised to hear you say compassion. I was going back and forth in my head between three different possibilities. Compassion was one of them. I was also going to say relatability and experience. So what do you think those two traits? Yeah, you're you're bursting at the seams for that one.
Yeah. Relatability. Oh man, it's such a part of everything. Like it's in the fabric of being a good mentor. You have to be relatable. They have to see you as someone that they can open up to. They have to see you as a real person. Anybody can talk to someone. Anyone successful can have words of encouragement. They can teach you something, but can they inspire you? Your ability to be relatable, I don't know when it happened, how it happened, but I've been blessed with that ability. I always considered myself, although I told you before that they used to call me an old man child, because I love being around. Even as a young boy, I always loved being around old people. Like they fascinated me, and even to this day, I find that spirit of being an old man child still follows me, because a lot of the elders, they want to pour into people like myself. for whatever reason, and it's nothing that I did to warrant, I didn't earn them pouring into me. I didn't do anything to make them, I don't believe I don't believe I did anything to deserve how they treat me. But I've been told whatever they see in me, they want to give back. They want to pour into me. They see the hunger that I have because they know that I will in turn pass that along, pay it forward. Because I say again, I am a product of those who have poured into me. So at some point, some of my mentors always told me, now it's your time to pour back into others, to mentor. And I think that's always been the plight. I just had to find my niche on how to best give back.
So obviously, we agree relatability is one of the main things you need. Since obviously, like I agree with you because I'm the one that actually stated it, but I know that that's something that you are very, very big on. So that said, there is a balance, I think, between relating to the next generation more than you should, in a sense that it becomes like fraternizing with them and maybe getting them to think that you're a peer of theirs, versus also coming off as too stuffy and I know more than you. And maybe you do, but you can't come off that way because kids really love to be told by their parents what to do, right? Kids love to be told by those older than them what to do. They love that. So you got to kind of walk that balance. So where is that line? I asked about that on a different topic, but I guess this is just the theme of our series here. We're drawing lines in the sand. Where is this line?
I think it goes right into what you mentioned earlier about experience. The relatability mixed with the experience, I think, without being boastful, without being without being vain or conceited, I think the relatability and the experience and the compassion is the trifecta. Um that line takes you, I think, right up against experience. Experience helps to reinforce the relatability. Um I think as an elder, I saw that it was the elders who, as we say, didn't drink their own Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
They didn't feel as though they were so much better than us, but they saw us in themselves. So a lot of times the experience that I talk about is not me a lot of times telling the youth that because I'm more experienced, I make better decisions. No, I am a product of failure. I am very vulnerable when I talk to them about failure. I don't tell them I made some great decisions. I made a lot of bad decisions. I will continue to make bad decisions, but hopefully not as many. But it's my attempt and the thought process behind recovering from my mistakes. So that experience of recovering from mistakes, the experience and the relatability to have them understand that we're not asking you to be perfect. We're asking you to, if you fail quick, fail fast, learn something from it, get back up. And from there, we can keep on moving. So, to your point, and you touched on the trifecta, relatability, experience, and compassion makes us is some real good ingredients in what I feel it takes to be an effective mentor.
So, not to get too far off this topic, because we are going to talk a lot about it, but you previously told me something that I'm never gonna forget, and this is maybe where we wanna tell the next generation, if they're watching, listening to this, to not take this too literally because we don't want you to get big heads, but you have said to me, "Everything online is controlled by the youth. The next generation runs that." We're not gonna get into the political world here, but we just saw an incident not that long ago where someone got so famous because they were so good at messaging and controlling their message to others and passing it along, that it inspired hundreds of thousands of people to attend his events, to to speak up against him, to challenge him online, and unfortunately to end his life. There's a lot of power that comes with someone knowing how to master a social media platform, and there's a lot of power that comes with someone knowing how to master their own message. So with that said, knowing that you are not of that younger generation, you know that they have a lot of power that you don't. How do you, when you mentor them, how do you go about ensuring that they wield that power responsibly?
Great question. I think it is very important to help them understand balance. As a grown man, I still work toward balance. I think it's a lifelong journey. I think a lot of times we get so caught up in making the right decisions, but for me, helping them to understand the power that they do have, the resources that they have that we didn't have, it's a responsibility. And I think a lot of times they also need to keep in mind that there's a generation that's coming right behind them. What do they want to be remembered by? Because it's their responsibility, just like we have a responsibility and we have to accept it. So I think it's really just keeping them real time, having them understand the importance of the decisions that they make and the power that they do wield. Um, I think we don't give them enough credit. They are trailblazers. They have different approaches to things, which I value. The ability for them to think outside of the box. I think if they have mentors or those who, like ourselves, who they can throw ideas off of, and I think they will look at us more as a resource. But I'm sure you all have experienced a lot of our elders tend to talk down at the youth. They tend to make them believe that they made so many great decisions and lived such a
Perfect life.
yeah, exactly.
Look at
Perfect.
me. I'm such a perfect embodiment of what you want to be when you grow up.
Right. And I think that because I don't come from that and I don't believe that, I think that plays into my like we said before, the ability for them to see me as not as a peer, but someone who was them to some degree, still a part of me still identifies with what they are and where they are. And they help us more than we help them, whether we want to accept it or not. If you want to get spiritual or religious for some, if you really look at it, like most of the people in the Bible, your creator talks to the youth. He uses the youth
Yeah.
more than anybody, right? So it's I think there's a balance. There's a balance of wisdom, there's a balance of experience, there's a balance of the youth and everything like we talked about before. Everything they touch everything first. The slang comes from them first. The fashion comes from them first. Like
The
everything
mastering of the platforms that come out every new.
everything comes to them first. So I think, but they will need some guidance. But we just need to, once again, help them, embrace them, build them up to be the leaders that we want them to be. Because they're the ones who are gonna have to take care of us.
Yeah.
So we need to really wake up and stop making them, because at some point you're gonna be at a point where you will be at the mercy of those who came behind you. So I still want to be embraced by the youth. Like we're good. You know what I mean? Like you have to really stay tapped in. You have to, whether it be the slang, whether it's just the relatability. And it's not, I don't think a lot of times. Now there's a fine line, I do believe, like you said, between not having them feel as though you're a peer. But I think that, that comes with not trying to be their friend. I want to be more than their friend. I want them to see me as I want to put value behind this relationship, as we should. And I advise them, you can have a phone full of people, but then you should have a list of valuable people, because those are some of the things that I had to do.
And then I guess later in life, you can then be their friend. You can have that friend relationship once they've gone through their own learning curves, and
Yeah.
then, maybe both of you were much older, but it can come one day, and then they can look at you and say, "Hey, I'm so thankful for what you did." And I think that really is the crux of it. The mentorship does work both ways,
Mhm.
because with your belief, at very, very accurate one, that the youth control a lot of things that happen in today's society, I do think that different generations grow up with different things being prioritized. For example, this next generation, whatever is after alpha, we don't even know what the AI is going to be like at that point. That generation alpha is growing up knowing how to type 3 or 4 words into a chat GPT bot,
Right.
and now they have a 20-page term paper.
Absolutely.
So what is coming after that, we have no idea. They can teach us whatever it will roll itself out to be because they grew up with it.
Mhm.
Similarly, we can teach them some of the things about manners, mannerisms, professional or professionability or professionalism. Either word works there. How to sit down and be presentable at a job interview, how to come off as likable to your boss, how to repair your car if you're stuck on the middle of here in Charleston. You can say it's I-26 in the middle of nowhere. You can teach them how to ah pick out a good food spot based on more than just like looks of the restaurant. Like, all right, so there's the reviews, there's the number of reviews, there's the location, there's the menu. Do they have this or that or whatever that you like or that you're not allergic to, or things like, it's a lot more than just looking at one or two binary things.
Right.
Teach them to think through these complex situations, whereas they can teach us the intelligence and the technology that comes their way. So I'm wondering what you think about that two-way relationship, and how it potentially changes as different generations will have grown up with different things, right? Because our generation, or your generation and mine, I guess, have the emphasis on the well-rounded approach, the experience, because we've lived it. Obviously, future generations, when they get to our ages, will as well, but theirs will be very, very different because they grew up with different things than we did. So,
Absolutely.
with that all said, very long-winded question, but do you see that dynamic changing as different generations grow up with different things and then have different experiences in their older ages?
Yes, I do. I think that there's a real need for us to stay connected. Um, I showed this, or I an example of this with my last speaking engagement. I had a exercise where I found out who was the oldest male in the room, the oldest female in the room, the youngest male, the youngest female in the room. From that, I put those two together. You sit, and I asked, does anyone understand a what an airdrop is? Of course, the younger generation knew. Does anyone understand what a digital card is? Of course, the younger generation knew. So from that, I put the youngest female with the oldest female, the oldest male with the youngest male. And this is what we should inspire to, this is what we should do. This is you are learning something from them, whereas you would have never had anything in common. You all are in a business symposium or a business environment. You're learning business ethics, business acclimate, different things to better your businesses. But this is something that the youth knows like the back of their hand. This is something that the elders wish that they. So once we showed them how to airdrop, um, they stayed there, and we did the exercise, and the elders, the two elders, they sent the airdrop their card, their digital card, to everybody in the room. So the phones just started going off, and you should see the look on their face, because they couldn't believe until everyone goes around to see, I got your card, I got your card, I got your card. They were amazed. They're sitting there like, so we can just send one text and hit everybody. He was like, yeah. They were floored. You can see They don't know what's going on in their mind, but I love it because once again, I try to make 2 exercises like that because to your point, I think we need to stay in touch. We have more in common than we don't than a little bit. But we have to make those attempts. We have to reach back and understand that I'm not trying to be young, but there's something that you have that I need, and there's something that I have that they need. We have to value both of it. Wisdom is value, but we can't, it's not one sided. So the more we tap into the youth, the more that the youth decides to use us as a resource, it, I live that experience now. My mentors, one of the most eye opening things that I experienced was when I used to stalk my mentors. Before I had them as mentor, I stalked them. It was my need to know that these are, and I literally researched them. I found them. I introduced myself to them by knowing and looking at where they're going to be professionally. I introduced myself, and I wasn't sickening. I was professionally persistent to always get a little bit of time. I don't care whether there were times when one of my mentors, he told me he was so busy, he runs 7 companies. And I used to ask him, well, what route do you take when you're leaving home to go to work in the morning? I said, do you make any stops for breakfast, for whatever, whatever? He was like, I might go get gas at this gas station from time to time. I went to that gas station 4 times. He came on the 5th time. I got 10 minutes from him. And that was a jewel. That's the hunger that I say you're not gonna outwork me. If I want it, and I make up in my mind, but through that mentor, the most eye-opening point that he showed me was I didn't call him for like 2 years, almost about 2.5 years after I met him, because I'm feeling like you got 7 companies. I can't be hounding you and asking you all type of questions. But once he used to keep in touch with me, but not directly. He would ask about me around the city, and when I did talk to him, he says, "Why don't you why you never call me more?" I said, "I just didn't want to be a pest. I don't want to bother you." He was like, "What you're not understanding is I need you just as much as you need me. I need somebody that I need to pour into because this knowledge is not going to leave with me. I have to give it to somebody. And I'm not going to give it to just anybody, but you have shown yourself worthy and you don't even know it." I can't even, wait a minute. I can't even talk about this man mm, often without getting emotional because, mm, mm,
I was going to ask you what he meant, but I think that's
mm.
pretty clear. Meant more than words can describe.
I'm going to tell you, Neil, I cry more now in my 40s and my 50s than I ever had in my life because mm, I hate it. I hate it. I hate that I can't control the emotion when I think about them, but they've done so much for me. In so many ways, it's I didn't do anything to deserve it. But when you're hungry, when you position yourself and you stay persistent, um, there's people who really love you. There's people who will do just about anything for you, but you just gotta want it. You gotta want to be there. You gotta want to absorb that information because the teachings that, and for whatever reason, there's the elders. They want the youth. They need the youth. So that was an eye opening thing for me because this was just in 2014, 2015. So it wasn't that I didn't know. I just couldn't fathom that he needed me. Because I'm saying to myself, what could you're a multi-millionaire. 2015, he was the minority businessman of the year, grossing over 50 million. You got 7 companies. What could you need from me? But he said, you'll never understand, but one day you will. And I get it.
What is it?
He describes it as you're in the flow of favor. He doesn't need money. He's in the flow of opportunities and money. And at some point, you reach a place where you can't take it with you. You can't take it all. You can't take advantage of it all. But he describes it as having individuals or a small cohort of people that you can pass opportunities to, pass wisdom to, and he's confident that it won't go wasted. That's what they don't. They just want to know that what they're giving or what they're offering you, whether it be opportunities, whether it be knowledge, or as we call them, jewels, it's it's something we need. And I needed it. As I said, I can't even talk about it. I can't talk about many of my mentors because as soon as I tap into what they've done for me, what they've done just to be able to pick up the phone and call, I can only imagine what it does for the mentors or people who that would consider me to be a mentor. I.e., there was a gentleman who came in about 3 weeks ago. We're in the same age cohort, but he's lived a rough life. And you can't imagine. We're in the office and we're crying, grown man, just because I can't hold it together because I feel that relationship with him. So I say the mentor thing is, man, we can go on and on about the value of it, but it's something that you can't beat it. You can't duplicate it. And it covers all boundaries. It covers all ethnic bounds, all ethnic barriers or boundaries. It covers all gender barriers. It's something that without it, I don't. You're making it too difficult. There's people who want to pour into you. You just got to make yourself available. You got to be hungry.
Yeah, I guess, I mean, I was gonna say, in a world where we are so divisive and there is so much talk about our identity, white, black, Asian, male, female, there is one thing you need over all else, and that's hunger. You gotta want it. Black woman, white male, Asian man, that doesn't matter. You have to want it. You have to want it bad. And what you just talked about, the idea of wasting it, or the skills or the knowledge, the expertise, letting that go to waste and not passing it on. I think there's some kind of adage that I'm not recalling off the top of my head, but something along the lines of a recipe going to waste because the creator of it dies and the recipe dies with it because they didn't write it down.
It's blasphemy. It's crazy. It hurts in a I never thought I would experience it this early, but I totally understand how they feel. And I'm not even at their age yet. But if what I have I can't pass down, it's a void.
It's a loss of experience and knowledge. It's a culture even that can be lost.
Right. So as you get older and you start to see, even if you have children, some people, I can't even imagine if you have children and you're not able to pass anything down literally to them. If they don't digest any of it, like I can only imagine how that feels, especially when it's your flesh and blood, right? So the need to pass down and to pour into or have that connection, like we say, we're all linked, all ages, all age ranges, all ethnic backgrounds, all genders, we're all linked. And if we start to really put a little more understanding and respect behind or value behind how we're linked, we'll be so much better off. We're making it hard on ourselves. There's someone older than you that's looking to pour into you because they want the best for you. You just have to make yourself approachable, accessible. You got to keep some hunger.
We're I hate to be so doomer as the next generation would put it, but if we don't equip the next generation with the skills that they need, going back to this symbiotic relationship we talked about earlier, where they teach us more about the technological advances and we teach them more about the life lessons they'll need. If we don't equip them with the life lessons they're they're in trouble. Like they like because they're going to have to make some mistakes on their own because everybody does. But wouldn't it be nice to just as a generation of a society limit those mistakes so that they don't have to go through every single thing you went through plus their own mistakes? Wouldn't it be nice to just take some of them out of the equation? So the question and I mean, this is more of a conversation than an interview, but the question that I have for you is, what is the responsibility of everyone who's not naturally as good as you are at relating to the next generation? Because we still have to get along with them, and like you said, we're still going to need them down the road. So what do the rest of us do? We're not all gifted like you are in this aspect. What do we do?
But we all still have value. That value can be imprinted in so many different ways, whether it's through tangible, whether it's through, even if we can't talk to them, there's a value that we have to find different ways to imprint that or pass that along. That could be, I mean, it doesn't even have to be directly. Whatever you can do if you have so-called arrived, if you feel you have to have value in what you've accomplished, whatever value that you gotta find a way. You gotta, and I don't have the words, or I don't have the distribution channel needed for everyone to do that, but we gotta figure out how to pass just a just a fraction of what you've lived to someone. I don't care wherever you have great, if you're a knitter, I don't care. If you knit beautiful things, pass it to someone. There's someone who wants it. Find a arts and craft cohort or group or Facebook group or someone. Pass that information down. I don't care what skill set you think you have. If you're good at it, someone wants it, someone needs it. If you're a good angler, a good fisherman, teach somebody how to do it. Teach someone so that you can be remembered. Because from my understanding is that's its purpose. That's why we're here. It helps to define why we're here, to have lived experiences and to help someone else not hit the potholes or pitfalls. I think that's such a gratifying thing to know, because they will appreciate it. It will show up. If you live long enough and you pass something down to them genuinely, it will show up, and you're not going to be able to hold it together because you never anticipated the little bit of talent or the little bit of experience that you had. You don't know how much it can impact someone's life.
Yeah, I mean, even if you don't live to see it, then the one thing that we all take to our grave with us is our reputation. We don't
Mhm,
take our money, we don't take our assets with us in the coffin, aside
mhm,
from maybe like a symbolic favorite suit or maybe a ring or
mhm,
something.
mhm.
We don't take any of that with us.
Right.
All we leave behind is our legacy. All that lasts beyond us is our reputation. And if we have a reputation for teaching other people how to do things, that speaks more volumes than anything, really.
But I think we're failing in understanding the connection. We go back to, we have to have the youth understand that there's value in the elders, and the elders have to understand there's value in the youth. Until we can put that together, we are losing. We are losing bad, because you can't quantify their lived experiences. You can't put it in a number that, like, you can't put a value to it. And a chef or someone in the food and beverage industry that's been in the food and beverage industry for 30 years. You have someone in the food and beverage industry who's just entering. If you just put them together for a month, what they could show them, what they could tell them, what they could do for each other is the beauty of it all. If I had it my way, like I was, and I think this is just par for the course for me, because what we're saying now is how I lived. Being that old man child, I was a youngin being around old people. So I got it. Like, I saw value in it. Although they looked creepy, although it was a little funny because they were different, I really saw value in talking to them, being around them, the things they were funny, the things that they would do. And I was like, so different than how we're being raised, but I saw value in it. So it's crazy that we're having this conversation now. And the same thing I'm preaching is, make that connection. It's okay to be an old man child. It's okay to love the elders and want to be around them, because they have so much value. And it's okay for the elders to learn from the youth. Like, it's inspiring. I think that's what keeps them young. young in spirit.
Yeah, that's that. I mean, there's a lot there. I mean, even going back to I think 2 answers ago or so, it quite a literal version of the allegory of teach a man to fish and
Mhm,
he'll learn how to. I don't know how to fish for a lifetime. He'll eat for a lifetime.
mhm,
Um, there's that, and then there's just the sense of responsibility that we have to have, and even if it's just an older person teaching a 2-year-old how to play with blocks. Well, maybe those blocks have letters on them, and maybe that's how you teach them how to spell, and then one day down the road, maybe the generation in between, maybe it's a grandparent and the parent is standing there with a phone and recording it, and the small child doesn't remember that grandpa taught them how to put these blocks in order, but then when they're 10 or 11, the mother will say, "Hey, you see this? This is your grandpa. He taught you how to read," and you'll remember the grandfather that way, even though you didn't remember it live. You can see the video of it,
right.
and you can carry that memory of them even secondhand through a phone screen for the rest of your life.
Some cultures have that embedded in their fabric of their culture. Some cultures have parts of holidays is where when you talk about, for example, if you think about Kwanzaa, for example, there's a day where the elders and the youth sit by each other, spend the day with each other. They feed each other. They serve each other. The youth brings food or drink to the elder. The elder helps take like it shows that relationship. And I think that's an attempt to kind of uh, put that gap together or fill that gap between the youth and the elders. So I think we're doing it. I think it's just not the broadcast as much, the importance of it, the value of it, because it encompasses the entire, as they call it through the Lion King, the
Mm.
cycle of life.
Yeah. Yeah, well, then I guess the onus falls on everyone who's watching this to share it and like it and subscribe it and help us bring y'all more great content because this is the key to pushing our society forward in the right direction. And Frank, and so many more questions to ask you, but just in the name of not intimidating our audience with a 3-hour show, let's put a bow on this piece of the series with one more question, and that is, what do you think is the most important trait that needs to be taught to the next generation at a young age? Because we talked about compassion, we talked about relatability, and we talked about experience, but those come with age. Children are not born with any of those. So, is the most important thing to teach the next generation one of those, or is something entirely different?
Mm, Neil, that's a good one. There's so much we can learn from each other. There's so much that's age appropriate. I think we go back to, and this is a swing in the dark because I think it's so many things that we can teach the youth. That's so important for us to teach the youth. Um, mm, I ultimately believe that the humanity side of everything, being okay with being different, being okay with coming from a different walk of life, I think is part because we're raising them in silos. We're raising them with these isms too early. Um, they're not developed. They can't interpret whether it's something that like they're not being given a chance to really be a good human being. They're not being given a chance to even have empathy, not just sympathy, but they don't we're in a culture I feel that they're not taught empathy. They're not taught that it's okay to be different. Even if we're talking about the handicap or the impaired, like it's just we're not doing a good job in taking care of those who can't take care of themselves. So I think there needs to be more giving back to the less fortunate. I think these holidays and these opportunities to give back to the homeless, to provide housing, to provide clothes, to help the veterans, to help the elders in the nursing homes and all of these things. I think if we get back to the fundamentals of humanity, of what it means to be a good human being, if we can somehow present a better, advertise it better, market it better, just live better for the kids to show them what it looks like, I think as a result, that continuous attempt at that will reap what we sow.
Reaping what we sow. I think that is how society moves forward, whether or not we're good people or bad people. I think karma has a way of coming back at us either way, for good and for bad. For good and for bad. And I guess it's up to you to choose which way you want to go. And I try my best every day to make that the positive side of it, but it's a battle every day for even the best of us.
Absolutely. Yes, it is.
So, with that said, we have one more piece of the four-part series with Frank Ancrum to go, but we're going to wrap up today's episode with the quick disclaimer that we always wrap up our shows with, and that is, remember, in the face of any type of adversity, there always lies the potential for growth, resilience, and success. So join us in 2 weeks from today as we put a bow on this series and continue to explore more inspiring stories from Frank Ancrum as we look ahead and take a look at what the future holds for not only you, not only for the city of North Charleston, but just society as a whole. Frank, as always, we appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me.